Katie, and this is Classically Black Podcast.
Where we talk all things classical music and being black in the profession.
With trap beats playing in the background. See, there you go. One time. Probably the only time that it will ever be normal again. No, I think when we started, it was normal. Ain't
yeah. Well, it's looking bleak for the future. So, you know what else is looking bleak? Tell me why. This is embarrassing, but this is all about warts and all. So I'm going to tell my business for this one and only time. So you know how your phone will offload apps when you don't use them?
What did it offload? I swear, Apple be like in your business for no reason.
Okay, because you know how it offloaded my FaceTime a while ago, which I was like, I don't talk to anybody.
I couldn't imagine mine being offloaded. No.
Because...
yeah, my mother FaceTimed me.
Mm-hmm. Several others as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
my grandma.
Tell me why... and several others as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm listening. What am I telling you?
Tell me why my metronome offloaded. I was like, how's that for a reality check?
Yeah, but I don't like using my phone for stuff like that. Like, I have a tuning app, and I used to use it a lot in like undergrad for like, because I had the one that like it smiles when you get the note correct or whatever. But like, I prefer to use like
regular stuff.
A regular tuner, a regular metronome. I don't know.
The only reason why I'm fine doing that, or I was fine, is because I didn't get any service in my practice room, so I couldn't use my phone even if I wanted to. So it was basically just like having one.
I just don't. I don't know. I just don't like using my phone for that. I never liked it. I mean, after I left.
Well, all my music apps, coincidentally, I bought them. My tuner was $10. My metronome was like $2.99. My scale app was like $1.99 or something. And I used this one app called the Amazing Slow Downer.
I heard about the Amazing, and it's gotten better over the years, because when I first heard about it, a couple of years ago, it was still distorting pitch when you slowed it down. So,
but you can, as long as I've used it, you can distort pitch intentionally, which is good for us because we play in solo tuning or orchestral tuning. So if you want to play something and you don't have solo strings on, you can just distort the pitch of the accompaniment, and it'll be fine. But that was like $15, so I'm like, I'm using these apps.
Yeah, I mean, I should get the Amazing Slow Downer. It was like huge. I remember going to the ASTA conference in 2013, and it was like the thing everybody was talking about, the Amazing Slow Downer.
I remember my teacher, he introduced me to it back when I was like maybe in like the 8th grade, and him being like, don't tell nobody about this.
Okay. Because the girls were like using like finale to slow stuff down, but then the pitch changes. So that's why it was like so, you know.
Sometimes I just be playing with it. I just be plugging in random songs, like singing and stuff, and turn it all the way up. It's funny.
Wow.
Meanwhile, my bass collecting dust all the while.
I'm not gonna talk about my viola and her many issues. My viola is like unplayable. Like, while I'm in LA, I want to ask Andrew where he gets the bow hair, because I haven't had a good bow hair in like years. Like, I'm never satisfied.
And he goes straight to the horse.
What? Horse or unicorn? Because that boy, something wrong with him. There's a couple freaks that like in classical music, which I just don't get. Andrew's one of them. Like, how you got a full him and Adam? It's like there's a couple of them out there that's just like freaks of nature. Like, he probably ascends on high. He probably in the Garden of Eden, right up there at the Garden of Eden, getting horse hair.
Pegasus
unicorn hair.
Right.
And God spins his strings himself.
Right.
But yeah, I want to get a bow hair. My viola is my viola. Okay, you see. What's he got news? I don't want to talk about it no more.
I type on in person. Because the V and the B right next to each other. That's like a
Yo, I'm dumb tired. It's it's 12 o'clock where I'm supposed to be right now. And
I don't get that. I feel like small like time differences that small don't feel like, I don't feel them. Because like 2 hours don't seem like that long to me, but also my sleep schedule used to be non-existent, so that's probably why.
Oh yeah, I'm in LA, by the way, for the YOLO.
Yeah, she's jet setting.
Literally not, but
you literally are. Did you come over here on an airplane?
I walked here, so.
You walked all the way here from Chicago?
Yep. 400,000 steps.
Come on, fit queen.
But I'm not jet lagged, but I'm tired because I would be in bed by now. I think that's kind of like with my Bible and the Lord.
Dang. Both of them?
Yeah, this podcast is over. I've tried. You got
meanwhile
37 and a half out of me.
Meanwhile, I begged you for us to quit the podcast just minutes before we began.
I don't know why. You don't even know why.
I do, but I'm not going to say it on
Got any news?
Oh, Chile. Sure do. Oh, dang, I always do the good news last. So that's what I'll do. Okay, so I saw
Note Queen. You know what? Actually,
this is a podcast. They can't see me, so nobody knows what you're talking about. You happy?
Yep. Gleeful.
Anyway, there's been this article going around about a conductor by the name of Brandon Keith Brown, who was hired back in 2017 to be the orchestra director and the visiting professor of music at Brown University. But he recently filed a complaint based on his firing in 2017, just 6 weeks after he was hired. So
go on.
You're right.
Before I get emotional.
This complaint,
6 weeks.
Yeah, the complaint that he filed claimed that there was bias and stereotyping from students, over monitoring by department leaders, and an overall hostile work environment, which caused him to be withdrawn at work, physically sick. He said that he had ulcers that he had to take medication for.
After 6 weeks? Sorry, I'm listening. Somebody lying. Somebody lying.
I guess
let me look it up. How fast you develop an ulcer?
Wow.
I'm sorry, that's not the point. Go ahead. This is not funny.
And caused him to be extremely anxious. There's a lot of accounts of this story. I think I read about 4 or 5 articles about it. 2, I think, of which were from the Herald, the Brown Herald, which is their newspaper at Brown University. It was basically saying that a lot of the students were relieved for him to be gone. Relieved. They claimed that they were fearful of him. They were afraid to approach him because he was so strict and intimidating, and I guess they just thought he was mean. However, you know, he believes that his actions were misinterpreted because he is black and because of students' implicit bias. He was, I guess, like stereotyped to be like an angry black man, when in reality he was just like, yeah, I'm strict, but I never crossed the line. And he also said that several of the people that hired him, hired and fired him. Okay. Because they fired him without observing his teaching. They just took their word for it.
Okay, that's a little different.
Exactly. And then he had several videos of it because he recorded some of their rehearsals, and they never, to his knowledge, reviewed those videos. And obviously he would know because he owned the videos, so he would know if they had seen them. It was also written in several articles that they were getting, this particular orchestra has a president and a vice president. It's Brown, so they extra, so they got a whole executive board for the orchestra.
I had an executive board for my orchestra undergrad.
Yeah, the president of orchestra.
Yeah, president, vice president.
Maybe that's a music school thing, but because I couldn't see, like, maybe it's not like a conservatory thing. But
yeah, I can see it not being a conservatory thing. Yeah. Because like the stuff we will plan is like the Halloween party. You know what I'm saying? Like junk like that, or like,
see, they just buy it. Never mind. Let's not talk about what they do.
Well, it won't take long.
The president and vice president of the orchestra claimed that they were getting emails before he had even had his first day about him. I'm like, how y'all sending emails? I was like, this not adding up.
Somebody lying.
How y'all sending emails before he got here? whatever. He said that when he was hired, he felt tokenized because they basically told him that he was there to diversify the department. There's a lot of details that I'm like, I don't even know how to string this together. Like, so he's already like, okay, y'all told me I'm not even here, to do the job that I came to do. I'm sure he's already pissed. Because
remember our friend was like, he applied to some music school and they were like, yeah, we like for you to diversify our. I'm like, I cannot believe y'all are really saying this out loud. Like, y'all are out of control.
I remember that. But basically he said that that's what they told him, and they told him that it would be a serious orchestra experience. So this is when things started coming to light for me, because they were saying, how they were saying he was strict, he was overly, everything. They were like, well, he assigned us more music than we used to playing. I was like, okay, so this is all starting to make sense. They said that they got more music for their auditions than they were used to, and they were mad because he was correcting them.
Yes, it's orchestra.
Like, that's what I was like, and this orchestra is primarily made up of people who are non-majors. And he said, had he known that it was a hobby orchestra, he would have never came.
Come on, a hobby orchestra.
He said he was fed up. He said, I didn't move all the way across the country for a hobby orchestra.
Especially the Rhode Island.
That I'm overqualified for. On. He literally said, he was like, a position that I'm overqualified for. I was like,
yeah.
Oh. But I was like, this is all coming to light. But I do want to, just to be fair, say some of the things that the students said, like some quotes from them. One girl who was the concert master said that he belittled her and corrected her, which I'm like, he's your professor
and you're the concert master,
and corrected her in front of everyone. And I'm like, was he supposed to? I was like, this isn't like Dudamel, going off on the concert master of the LA Phil and undermining him and telling him, well, actually, you hold the violin this way. That's not the same thing. You're a student in school and he's your professor. If he wants to correct you or something, like, obviously there's a way to do that and there's a way not to do that, but I wasn't there, and you have to provide more detail than that if we're gonna, you know what I mean?
And I mean, people in music, like, no matter how nice a teacher is, like, people in music have a way of, like, being short or, like, it could be offensive, whatever. You gotta just, like, I don't even know how to say it. Like, you sometimes just gotta have, like, a thick skin sometimes, because it's just, like, even Mr. Taylor, the nicest, you know, it's like sometimes you just gotta get the information fast, and it's like, well, girl, it's sharp. So, you know, it's like,
you know what, most of
the time, Katie, it's there, but for this little no, girl, it's sharp.
It's mostly there, except for everything is wrong, but it's okay because like, it's mostly like, it's almost like, sometimes you just gotta. But some students also claim that he called out the quality of someone's instrument in rehearsal, and insisted that they get a better one. And I was like, okay, now if that really happened,
like,
that's unacceptable, because you don't know what nobody can afford. Just because you have Brown don't mean you could afford to go to Brown.
And also, like, why is that in front of the entire ensemble?
In front of the entire ensemble, like,
yeah, this is tasteless to me if it's true.
Yeah, and then 2 students from the University of Massachusetts Amherst, which is where he previously taught, and they refused, the office over there refused to disclose under what grounds he left. But 2 students from there came forward and corroborated the stories of the students at Brown, and said that when he was here, one student said that he mocked his accent in front of everyone, and then another student claimed that they did a 2.5-hour orchestra rehearsal with only a 6-minute break.
Okay, so the second one, if y'all knew what we was doing at Eastman, so I can't get behind that. However, the first one is ridiculous.
Yeah. The last straw was him having an argument with a student in which a student allegedly put his hands on him, and so he threatened to call campus police, which he ended up doing on that student. So that at that point he was terminated.
Wait, he put hands on the student?
No, the student put hands on him.
Oh, it would have been on site.
Okay.
Oh, I don't blame her for that. Gang, what we doing? We boxing now?
All right.
I would have dog walked that student. You're not gonna touch me? Are you kidding? Oh wait, future employer. I already got a job.
For now.
And my boss would have dog walked that student too.
In any case,
I was like, there's a time. I'm okay. I wouldn't dog walk a student because now I'm in jail, and I wouldn't do well in jail. But you're not gonna touch me. Your hands on me, and you don't wash your hands. You know them students at Brown are not washing their hands. Zero waste. Brown University, Rhode Island.
Brown mean more than one thing over there.
Wonder why everyone got tetanus.
Anyway, long story short, some of the students have claimed that it's ridiculous that he would claim that it's due to race, but we are still waiting on the outcome of the complaint that he filed. So I guess I'll keep my eye out, see what happens, see if he get that settlement or whatever.
I mean, I could see. Okay, so when I took my orchestra job, let me rephrase because I wish. When I took my high school teaching job, in Danville, one of the complaints that I had one student drop out of orchestra like within a week or two of me being there because the music I gave was too hard and I gave too much of it. And I was like, well, girl, the door's over there, and if all of y'all want to quit, we had 2 violins, and that's what we finna do. We playing the Bach double. I guess that's what we doing. You know, like I didn't care. I was like, you hire me to teach orchestra. I teach it at this level. Everybody coming with me, and the ones who can't make it will not make it. And only ones I thought I was waiting for the rest of them to drop, and they didn't. So I could see that. It's like you have. I don't care what the level of the orchestra was before. Like you hired me to teach orchestra, and that I will do. And this is how I teach orchestra. It's going to be at a high level. It's going to be with difficult music, and you will work. And they stuck around.
Which is why he said, had he known what he was getting himself into, he never would have came. Which is true because when you think about it, like, I'm sure, say you're a neuroscience major and you play the violin for fun because you don't want to stop, and some dude coming here yelling at you because you ain't got no strat. Like, I can see why that would be stressful, especially because that's another thing on your plate when you're at an Ivy League school getting a degree in something completely different. Mm-hmm. However, y'all can't just be hiring people willy-nilly when you know that he is used to a certain level. He's going to come in, and you guys didn't care. He said that nobody asked him about his qualifications, and then, like, in the interview, it seemed like just a diversity hire. I'm like, well, had y'all been honest with him about what he was getting himself into, and been honest with him, you know, about how your program runs or doesn't, then y'all wouldn't have been in this situation.
Also, like, I'm not trying to say too much because I know, like, everybody's financial situation is different, everybody's lives are different, but, like, I can't really see myself taking a job to help you diversify. Like, I just can't see myself doing something like that. I mean, but everybody different. Everybody moral compass is different. So I'm not saying that, but I'm not doing that.
From what it sounded like he was already there by the time they told him that.
Oh, shoot. I would have been pissed.
Yeah. But he was fired a couple days before the concert, so they had like a teaching assistant. Yeah. Teaching assistant do it for them, but
yikes.
Sorry, sis.
Chin up, Buttercup.
Right. In other news, a couple weeks ago, I mentioned that Asada Cannon Mason was releasing an album of Clara Schumann's music. Well, that very album has officially reached number 1 on the UK's classical charts. Okay. You got an intermission?
Oh, you done for real?
That was it.
Oh.
You just pushed me. So let's get this over with.
Okay, y'all, so it's time for the intermission. I'd just like to say that I'm glad the girls were fed up with your questions because that has made me happy. Because, yeah, your questions were hard. So,
okay.
I'm waiting for our tiebreaker round.
It won't be happening.
You'll lighten up eventually.
I won't.
Okay, so
should be darkening up.
Okay. So on YouTube, there's been this little craze going around called song association. So how it works is, I'm actually happy we're together for this because it's gonna make it a lot easier. What happens is there'll be a word that pops up on the screen for it's normally a celebrity. Like I watch Sierra. Was it Sierra? No, I watched Kelly Rowland. Two different people. I watched Kelly Rowland do it. So what happens is like a word pops up on the screen, and then you have to sing a song that has that word in the song. So, for example,
what you gonna do a pitch or something?
So you'll find out. So, like, let's try it. So if I were to give you the word love, what will be a song that you could sing that has the word love in it?
Love, Bucky Skull.
So you just you don't have to sing it, but like say like a couple words so you get how it goes.
Love, never knew what I was missing.
Oh,
but as soon as we start kissing, I find yeah, just like that.
Yeah. So like, and you have like 10 seconds to do it. So it'll be like happy. You be like happy, clap along if you feel like a room. Okay. So I thought it'd be cute to do the same thing with a little bit of a twist. So don't worry. So I'm gonna give you a word or a type of work or a fragment, an idea. What the heck? And what I ask you to do is I'm not gonna give you a time limit, okay, because it's kind of hard, but it's not that hard. I'm not gonna give you 10 seconds. Is my point. So just edit out the silence if it's too long. All right. So I'm gonna give you a word or a composer or an idea, and you have to sing a couple bars of a piece that has that idea that was by that composer or represents that element.
This strikes me as something that's going to be easier once we start playing. So
I think you're. It's not.
If you talk about an idea, I'm going to give you a cloud. And then you can turn the cloud into a teddy bear, and then associate that with. Okay, so we'll play together. We'll do an example first. So you're gonna see. I'm gonna make sure you don't see my stuff because people be cheating. So okay, we'll play together. So if I give you the word symphony, sing any symphony that comes to mind, but you have 10 seconds. It's okay, so it's not hard, right? There you go. Okay, that was straightforward, but yeah.
Okay, so ready? Oh, I should time you. I should give you 20 seconds, actually. So let me pull up this on my computer, just for my own personal enjoyment. And I will time you. So you have 20 seconds. Okay, so the first one is concerto. Go. I was waiting for it to get ratchet. Okay, so what was that for the girls who don't know?
Von Hall bass concerto.
I do not like Von Hall. As a composer, he's just mediocre. Okay. Well, okay, that's not fair, but his viola concerto is absolutely terrible.
I'm sure.
Like, absolutely egregious. Okay. Good. So far, so good. Okay?
At least I didn't embarrass myself, so. Even though the second note of that was not the note it was supposed to be.
Girl, no one's looking for that. Like, you.
Classical musicians?
Oh, yeah. Y'all love a good dragon.
They're like, in the comments, said Delaney way.
Delaney was what?
They gonna type that. I don't know how you spell it, but they're gonna find
They'll figure it out.
Right.
Okay. Next one is Mozart. Go.
You gonna keep making me sing. Bum 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 bum.
Not that aggressive one. Okay.
That was Abduction from the Seraglio Overture.
Oh, you love that piece. Okay. So far, so good. I'm proud of you. Okay. Next
I'm
one.
wondering when these ideas are going to come into play.
Okay. The next one is French. Go.
Ugh.
Okay.
You know I don't listen to none of that. Dang. How does Daphnis and Chloe go? That's probably my best bet. Oh, at the beginning is just like tremolos in it. So
nope, that don't count. No, it doesn't.
The whole first page for us is a tremolo. So
no. Okay, you lost one. You were doing good. Oh,
you know what I could have done?
And then also
Let's Ferrando
by Bizet. Oh, you hate that.
Hate that piece.
You could also done Bring It Way Back.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
French folk song. Yeah. Okay. Next one.
I got that last one. The tremolos
no,
are part
you
of
did
the
not
piece.
get it.
The tremolos are part of the piece.
No, you no.
Tell us in the comments. They're part of the piece. I can show you the score.
Okay, but the point is that it has to be recognizable. Some people play this game on YouTube and they're like, love, and they be like, la, la, and the people be like, no. Doing well. Only missed one.
I didn't miss any of them.
You missed one.
I didn't miss
You
any
literally
of them.
missed one.
I literally didn't.
Okay.
But you said you weren't going to be a time limit. And you were like, actually.
Yeah, because I realized that there should be one. Okay.
But nah.
Okay, last one is triplet. Sing a melody with the triplet in it.
Girl. Oh, I don't know how this goes though.
Dang.
Because it's so fast.
What were you thinking? That was time.
Movement 3 of track 6 with all those fast triplets. I don't even know how to like the pitches. I can't even.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but movement 3 of track 6 is like a bunch of triplets.
Would have been
what that is.
Lagazaladra.
That's unrecognizable. That's not like a memorable piece to me.
Or Heighted Variations, number 5.
I've only put that once.
Or
okay, we get it. What are the triplets?
Which is dance. Do bassists play that?
I don't know what that is.
Y'all Suzuki book is mad weird though. Like y'all be having some abstract songs I ain't never heard of. After Twinkle Variations, like Suzuki was doing whatever.
I have no experience with Suzuki.
Because Suzuki bass doesn't really work that well, to be honest. Anyway, I hope you guys played along with us. Let me know what pieces you picked, and we are moving on.
It's been a minute.
It's back. Triflin Music History. And today we dragging Strauss.
Well, he dragged himself with his own actions, so.
I don't feel bad for him.
Neither do I. Because, I mean, nothing really happened to him, so.
Like, imagine having so much privilege to bring your own downfall.
Right. And then really not even suffering the repercussions for it. But okay.
I was going to say something so trifling, but it's fine.
What was that?
Nothing. Okay, so your good sis Richie Strauss. Y'all know him as a German composer. Most widely recognized for his tone poems. I mean, I don't know why you girls love him so much. But Don Juan and Einheidleben like brought the girls to their feet. Like they were like, oh my God. So that's what he's widely recognized for. He was a horn player. Wrote his violin concerto when he was like super young. So yeah, basic background about Strauss, German composer. So on to the mess. So the thing that's different about Strauss and the other ones that we have talked about, Debussy and Gesualdo, is like, well, actually no, I was gonna say like his actions weren't like as outwardly egregious, but I think that he was actually the worst of them all. I can't tell because it's like Gesualdo like killed people.
Yeah. Gesualdo was terrible. Strauss was also terrible. Debussy was just like trash in his like marital like situations.
Yeah.
It wasn't like nothing crazy. Like to me, I think I don't know. I feel like Gesualdo's probably a little worse.
Yeah, maybe a little, or like worse in different ways.
Yeah, in a different way, because Strauss is still pretty terrible. Like,
I ain't even gonna lie, it's so bad. But when Debussy said that his wife's voice, that still sends me, like, her voice. Like, it didn't bother you before you married her. Y'all don't think nothing through. Anyway, so Strauss, one thing that we didn't know, and I remember a lot of people brought this to our attention when we met them at Sphinx. They were like, oh, you don't forget to drag Strauss. I'm like, Strauss? Like, what's Strauss do? So Strauss was booed up with the Nazis during World War II. So we're going to just take that apart a little bit and talk about it. A lot of times Strauss, I feel like, is giving like a pass because he wasn't anti-Semitic, like he wasn't a Nazi himself, but still his actions like were just as terrible. And Martin Luther King has a really great quote that I thought about immediately when I read Strauss's story. And it says, in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. He who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps to perpetuate it. And to me, this is exactly what Strauss did. And he's also a clout chaser. So,
all right. So one of the things that's a common misconception about Strauss, in his relationship with Hitler, was the Olympic hymn that he wrote for the 1936 Berlin Olympic Games. But this piece was commissioned in 1931, which is before he had any involvement with Hitler and Nazism. So the writing of that particular piece wasn't related to anything that had to do with Hitler or Nazism at the time. But a lot of people gave him flack for that, thinking that it was related to him being on Hitler's side or agreeing with his ideologies.
And also, Germany didn't commission that. Like, the Olympics is an international organization. Exactly. So they were like, all right, because what's the boy's name? Strauss was a superstar.
No, what's the boy's name?
Strauss was a superstar at the time. So they were like, all right, we're gonna do the games in Germany in 1936. Who can we ask? So it was like more of that kind of approach. It wasn't like Hitler came to his office talking about, we need you to write a little ditty for the thing.
All right. A little ditty?
Mm-hmm. I mean, at this point.
But after that, Strauss wrote a letter pledging his allegiance to Hitler, which from there is when he lost me.
Like, honestly. Because, okay, so the biggest thing Strauss did, he took the position, I gotta find the name of it. It's something in German. But basically, he was head of music for the Third Reich. That's what he was doing. He took the position, and a lot of his biographers and stuff like that are like, he took it with eyes wide open. Like he wanted to further German music and fight for classical music in general. I'm like, let's pull over.
And composers' rights. That's what took me down. I was like,
composers' rights.
Of all the rights,
composers' rights. And also, you're advocating for German music, and y'all been stopped playing Mendelssohn. Make it make sense.
And you look dumb because you're sitting over here staring in the face of a genocide and have the audacity to be like, composers' rights. The right to be paid more for a commission. I'm like, dude, literally, this is a genocide happening.
Like,
right?
People are dying by the millions, and you're worried about getting more money for one of your tone poems. Like, girl, what are you even talking about? Like, Strauss was an opportunist. Like, he used this to try to again, what so many people like to do, like, not focus on the point. Like, he used this as an opportunity to get ahead in classical music, and also, he didn't have to. Like, Strauss was like literally a worldwide name. Like, especially like after the success of his operas, Strauss remained popular even during the war. And that's the main thing. So, like, to me, I think about like someone who's already famous looking for more clout. To me, this doesn't make sense. It's like Like it's like Cardi B teaming up with Trump to like get more record sales. For like Cardi's a megastar. Like what do you need to do that for? And like it's a little different with like Strauss, I understand, but it's like he was already so well known. There's literally no point to do this, and especially like you're trying to push forward your own music, and I'm like you're still forgetting like to me it's like the thing with Mendelssohn and like they stopped playing Mendelssohn and stuff like that. I'm like you're not pushing forward anything. I'm like you're doing this for yourself,
and at what cost?
And not exactly
your moral compass is broken.
And then again, like you pledge your allegiance to Hitler, but he made a comment about how he thinks that like anti-Semitism is like a poor man's thing, and like how like it's absolutely ridiculous. Meanwhile, you're pledging your allegiance to Hitler, so make it make sense,
right? Because a lot of people will be like, well, he didn't really mean it, and that's not really what he felt. But at the same time, it's like as a person, you can't say, oh, well, I'm going to just go along with this, but I don't really believe it because in my heart of hearts, deep down, I don't believe it because nobody knows the real answer to that but you.
Exactly.
And how am I supposed to just take your word for it? Oh, you pledged your allegiance to Hitler, but you didn't really pledge your allegiance to Hitler. Like, I'm not going to take your word for that. I'm going to take you at face value because this is the history or the legacy that you've decided to leave behind.
Exactly. And like, imagine like how can anyone believe, especially like he had Jewish friends that his daughter-in-law was Jewish. Like I couldn't imagine he's like down in private, like, yeah, like y'all, whatever, but like trying to like play nice with Hitler. Like ain't nobody actually play nice with him. Like you really could have just been minding your business. And I mean like, I understand that like I try to step carefully around this because like I know like it was tense. A lot of people were doing what they were doing to survive. Mm-hmm. But like to me, this wasn't a survival tactic. It's like, and it also said like Strauss wanted to stay in Germany, which he should. That's his home. Like he shouldn't have to go anywhere. But it's like you could have stayed in Germany and minded your business, and you didn't want to do that. You know, he didn't want to leave Europe. He made a comment like, I can't go to America because there's nothing going on there for me. I will go poor. Like because like if you think about the state of American orchestras, like how many were there? Who will be playing your stuff? You know what I'm saying? So he wanted to stay in Europe, and that's fine, but I don't understand what Hitler had to do with this. You could have kept writing your stuff. Like, you were still popular all around Europe. Like, there's no reason. And then when stuff really started to hit the fan, that's when you started looking crazy. Right. So he wrote a letter to one of his friends, last name's Zweig, and he was saying about like how, I don't really believe in all this stuff, and like, I'm not really down for all that stuff that Hitler talking about and blase, and like, you gotta believe me, man. Like, I'm just trying to do what I gotta do to make it, and blase.
She read it from the exact transcript too.
Can you imagine it? In broken German. Y'all, man, I'm just out here in these streets. I'm just trying to do my
streets,
and I'm just trying to do my thing. You know what I'm saying? And the Gestapo got a hold of it, and it was like, oh, so you don't believe in what we doing, right? And then he was forced to resign. Like, so now
you look at that's all he was forced to do.
Exactly. Because I could imagine like a letter like that would be like incredibly dangerous, incredibly dangerous. But also like, I could see why Hitler would probably leave him alone. Like, I mean, Hitler wasn't trying to save nobody's face because you literally been murdering people by the millions. But, Strauss was a celebrity, you know what I'm saying? So he was forced to step down. So after all that clout chasing you did, trying to promote your music, trying to do all that stuff, like you had to resign, which like you like rightfully should, but like no one should have had to tell you to step down, sis. So that's embarrassing.
And a lot of Strauss defenders will bring up the fact that he allegedly helped a lot of Jewish people escape and help them to freedom and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, and that's the least you could do.
That's like Harriet Tubman owned slaves to me,
right?
Like, huh? Like that doesn't make sense. Like you are literally working for the guy that you're trying to save them from. Make it make sense.
Willingly. It's not even like you infiltrated and you had this master plan.
Right.
Like, no, you did it for you. And then
you did it for you.
Oh, by the way, this is kind of messed up. So I'll just take a few of y'all. Like, it was an afterthought at best.
And let's be real. Let's like be real, Strauss. Like, only reason why you probably really cared about these Jewish people, I mean like really, really care, is because your daughter-in-law was Jewish, and your 2 grandchildren were Jewish as well.
Right, and that must have been another a different son that married that daughter-in-law, because right,
because Franz was about it. He was like, you know, this anti-Semitic thing, it might could work, and you know, I kind of believe it. It's not.
Yeah, apparently he was very enthusiastic about the ideas that Hitler had going on, which...
Yeah. And actually, what sucks about this whole thing is, like, so his granddaughter went through a whole bunch of stuff with this because, like, she's Jewish, right? So she got arrested a whole bunch of times because... And they had to fight to make sure that his grandsons didn't have to wear the Star of David on their I think on their coats, right? Mm-hmm. And they were going through all this stuff because it was like they would get arrested, like, oh, you was Strauss, oh, okay, and then you get arrested again, like, oh, yeah, we sorry, like it was like that kind of back and forth and stuff. And what ended up happening is his daughter-in-law's grandmother and a bunch of other people related to her got put into a concentration camp. So Strauss thinking like, oh, you know what, I'm cool with Hitler. Let me go down there, try to straighten everything out. Like, you got the wrong people. Like, nah, we good. He goes down there and they turn him away. And they end up dying in that concentration camp. And it's like, you did all this stuff, you mixing up with the wrong people, and it's like, would it have happened regardless? Like, yes, because like the times were serious and ridiculous. However, like, you literally tried to befriend sides with the enemy just for this not to work out in your favor anyway. Right. So to me, it just, people who say like, oh, Strauss wasn't a Nazi and he wasn't anti-Semitic. I'm like, he's just as bad. He's just as bad. I'm just thinking of like,
there's really, I believe in my heart of hearts that there's no amount of money that would make me do that.
I couldn't.
Like, I'll be homeless first.
Yeah.
I'm super good. Y'all wasn't showering anyway, so.
Well, you are halfway there, so. And I just couldn't imagine like compromising my moral compass to promote my career.
I don't even sit right with me. I can't even lie no more. Let alone that.
I cannot lie. I just be like,
it'd be like little things. But that's part of the reason why I don't believe it. How could you set up something that big and something that should weigh on your conscience that heavily, and you just be okay going along with it if you really don't believe it, or if you really actually do care about those people? That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. So, especially like, and the thing that would make me mad, like, especially like, it's like you have one of his librettists was Jewish, yeah. And like, I don't understand how you really like looked him in the face. I just don't. And whatever, like, people say like, oh, Strauss was like kind of mean, kind of like off-putting, whatever. Like, there's plenty of mean people who like aren't racist. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's plenty of mean people who just like to keep to themselves and whatever. And he sat on this thing, like he sat on these ideas. I remember one time they came to his house looking for somebody, or maybe his granddaughter, his daughter-in-law, something like that. Came to his house looking for some, and one of his sons came up to him and was like, oh, there's a bunch of them outside, like, here. And he was like, oh, don't worry, like, I'm gonna go talk to them. He's like, hey, y'all, so I'm Richard Strauss. Here's a score to whatever piece. I think it was like Don Juan. He's like, here's a score to prove it. So, I remember. American troops came to his house because they were like, so y'all gonna have to stop this. And he was like, oh, don't worry, I'm Richard Strauss, like, it's good. And then like the next week they came over like and have dinner with him. Like he had all the clout in the world before he went to go look for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just trash to me. Like, I feel like complacency is like the biggest enemy of progress, because it's not the ones who are out there being like Blue Lives Matter and why you running from the police anyway and da da da. It's not.
Yeah, he wasn't all that innocent because he stole a juice box back in 1942.
Yeah,
so
yeah, it's like not, it's not always those people. It's the ones who sit inside their homes and living room being like, well, you know, like,
what am I gonna do?
What am I gonna do about it? And I'm like, you tell the cop and your family that blue lives don't matter because you get to take off your uniform at the end of the day. There's no such thing as a blue life unless you're a Smurf. You know, it's like
Okay.
complacency is like
Or
the
Elmo. I mean, not Elmo. Cookie Monster.
yeah, them two. Papa
Who
Smurf
else?
and
Squidward is blue.
He's more of like
He
a,
like turquoise.
yeah, he's kind of like a doll.
Why?
It's like I feel like complacency is the biggest enemy of progress. It's like the ones who like low key think that it's terrible to keep children in cages, but refuse to call the representatives and see what they could do about it.
Right.
It's like complacency is like the biggest enemy. It's like,
Or,
yeah, we get it. It's bad. Yes.
Or you don't say nothing to your racist grandma at the Thanksgiving table.
Right.
I'm lucky enough to have family members that don't have problematic opinions on most things. But if something does come up, I'm not just gonna be like, well, it's my mama, so I can't say nothing. Like, you know, like,
yeah.
because why would you just sit there and have them going out into the world spreading
Exactly.
that, you know? And I just can't, for me personally, in good conscience, just let that, you know, continue to happen. So why are people sitting around just, well, you know, what am I really gonna do? I'm just one person. I'm
right.
just, like, nah.
And then Strauss went even further than that. It was like, well, I'm just gonna, and I feel like a lot of people do this like type of like brown nosing type of like, I don't care how I get to the top as long as I'm at the top type thing. Like Hitler was the guy, so it's like if you up there with him and he controlling all the stuff, meanwhile all he wants to do is annihilate the human race. So it's like he's not thinking about you or your symphony, sis.
Exactly.
Like not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit. And at least the people who are out here and are standing their hatred, at least we know who to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's people who are like, no, I'm on your side low key, but just don't tell nobody I'm on your side.
Right.
You know, it's those people that is like, nah. Well, in conclusion, he sucks.
He sucks. And at the end we'll link the radio interview that we listened to, one of the things we listened to prepare for this episode. And at the end we talk about this idea, like I think we mention it every time, is like, do we continue listening to Strauss? I'm like, well, unfortunately for me, Strauss is on every audition that I will ever take in my life, so I have that. But this idea of like, do we separate the composer from the music? And I feel like this is like it's a difficult question, because especially for someone like Strauss, I mean, I feel like the misconception is wrong, because people be like, well, he wasn't really anti-Semitic, he was just BFFs with Hitler. So
which to me, it means literally nothing.
You know,
it means next to nothing. That like the difference is so minute, it does not matter to me. So
yeah, I just Strauss is hard, because it's like I must play his music, you know. Mm-hmm. But to say like I don't think he should be programmed, I think it's something that should be visited, you know. I think because it's like, if I don't know, do we separate the composer from the music? I feel like if they're extremely problematic, yes. Debussy cheating on his wife and being terrible is not a reason to not play Debussy. Yeah, the quality of Debussy's music is the reason not to play Debussy.
I mean, I agree with that.
Shout out to the Debussy fans who will drag me later. You will not convince me otherwise.
All right. Imagine being a Debussy fan and thinking, no, let me not do this.
What a confusing state of existence. You don't know.
Do y'all know what day it is?
Upbeats or downbeats, sis? Which one? Who wrote who's da 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 da? Oh, that's Ravel. Yeah, I tried. That's as close as I could get.
Ravel's slightly better to me.
Yeah, I like his string quartet.
Yeah, and Daphne and Chloe was such a pleasant surprise.
Daphne is nice.
It's nice. I was not expecting that.
Oh my god, because there was like time.
Yeah, right. So
and rhythm
and those tremolos that count.
Anyway, so but at the end of this interview, like one of the guys made like this is a problem. I feel like people, when we talk about like problematic things, I feel like we're never on the same page because of this comment. So he said, they were asking like, do we separate the music from the composer? And one of the gentlemen that was on there was talking about like, well, I think we have to consider the music first and the human like second, because they're composers and that's how we have to judge them as composers. And you know, Tchaikovsky said, you know, past remarks about his colleagues once upon a time, and that's when my car almost swerved off the road, because I'm like, I know we are not comparing Tchaikovsky passing remarks about his colleagues who are probably inferior anyway to Strauss, who pledges allegiance to Hitler. Those are not the same thing. We're not talking about people being mean. We're talking about fundamental character flaws. We're talking about racism, like
genocide. Literally millions of people being murdered by the man. Like, okay, this is you missing the point. This is the big red target and you missing the mark. Like this is what this is. It's like you cannot compare the two. That's apples and oranges. Like people are people. People are stressed out about their people buying their music. They're stressed out because like Tchaikovsky was like not free to be himself. I would be mad too. And you have all these inferior people around you trying to compose their little symphonies, and they're making you mad. Like, and they like, Tchaikovsky, can you read this and tell me if it's good or not?
Right. Meanwhile, Mussorgsky, tired of Mussorgsky coming up to his house.
Can you sign my score? Can I touch the hem of your garment?
Please stop.
You gonna quit with that?
But it just made me very angry. I'm like, this is not the same thing. Like, I feel like, especially in a day where we're trying, despite the valiant efforts of others, to be more culturally sensitive and culturally aware, I feel like there's always steps backwards when we continue to program works like by now Strauss, and not even now Strauss. He'd been like this, so we just new to the game. Mm-hmm. And Wagner especially, like I don't understand. I mean, I know the opera world, especially like that's the world I want to be in, would take a huge loss by that, but it's like Wagner literally sucked in every way.
And even so, I feel like because Wagner had anti-Semitic views that he literally penned in writing, but a lot of his association with Hitler and stuff was obviously done after his death. Meanwhile, Strauss was sitting alongside.
Exactly.
Alongside. And y'all don't keep that same energy with him. Y'all really don't keep any type of appropriate energy with any of them, because all people do is like, should we be playing this? IDK. And then y'all play it, and then y'all program it again the next season. Like,
first of all, IDK, you suck.
Oops, programmed it again. We'll talk next year.
Right. 20 years from now, we're having the same conversation.
Right. Talk soon, XOXO.
That's the thing. Like y'all love discussion, but don't want to do anything with the things that we discuss. Like, there are other operas to do, better operas to do. Puccini wrote, you know what operas Puccini wrote? So, and I feel like what we do too often is like forget that other people were also writing along Puccini. Like, it wasn't just him. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just Wagner, thank God. You know, it's like people were writing alongside these people. Like, there's other things to program besides like the same thing. I don't understand. It's like we don't have to do it. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's just incredibly problematic. But you know, y'all don't care about that, so.
Right. So.
But let us know what you think about Strauss. And if Julisha was like, don't tell me nothing about Strauss, that's bae. I was like, see,
it is.
Don Juan is only pleasant because I know how to play it. So I'm like, oh, that's nice. Like, now it's like, it don't seem like this thing that's insurmountable. It's kind of like, okay, how can I make it better? So it's enjoyable to like go through that experience of like being on the other side of like, this is literally impossible, to being like, okay, what can I do to make it better? Like, that's nice. However, like,
master of Don Juan. Glad you mastered it.
Literally didn't.
Literally did. So.
Literally not. That's the orchestra I auditioned for last month. So.
Well, meanwhile, they auditioned everybody else who couldn't keep up. So, since a majority could keep up, they had to hire all of them. Because then you would stick out as the only person that could play it.
Make it make sense.
You would stick out that literally makes sense. What they gonna do? Fire everybody else? That's just like the same thing they better do with Adam.
Oh yeah. Does Adam know he gonna be the only player in the Memphis Symphony?
Right.
They tell him that yet?
The Memphis solo flute ensemble. Imspo. Imspe.
Not the solo flute ensemble. You hear yourself?
Oh.
Wait. But no, there's a conductor.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull her up.
But meanwhile,
we'll say her name.
Oh, Kalina.
Right. So it'll be Adam and Kalina.
Right. So
sounds good to me. Yeah, I'll go. I'll pay good money, good American dollars for that. Yeah. Let us know what you think about this. We're moving on. The hour's late.
Chile. Time for Black Excellence.
Black Excellence, where we hype you up, gas you up, and give you your props because there's room for everybody at the top. Who you got, Delaney?
All right, so this week, Black Excellence goes out to Eleanor Alberga.
Hey, Eleanor.
Okay.
That was good. I'm working on my vocals.
She is a composer born in Kingston, Jamaica. I knew you were gonna say that.
Big up yourself.
Literally, a pop-up came up on my computer because you were singing that too loud.
Goody.
I literally considered leaving that out because of this exact thing.
Remember, North Side Jamaica should come from. All right, read that thing. Big up yourself.
I just said she was from Kingston.
You said what?
I just said she was from Kingston.
What she do? What am I gonna do?
Oh my goodness. In 19...
Eleanor! Minister Beam. Alright, me don't know. We finish. Hey!
Okay, you clearly not. No, I should have never said it. I knew I wasn't...
I would have found out anyway.
I know, but not at least not when we were recording.
Okay, I'm done now only because I really want to go to bed.
Okay.
So...
Well, now I'm
You're trash.
Like, I'm so childish. Okay. In 1970, she won the biennial Royal Schools of Music Scholarship for the West Indies.
Of course.
Which she took up at the Royal Academy of Music in London. She studied piano and singing, but even though she had a budding career as a solo pianist, meaning that she was among the 3 finalists in the International Piano Concerto Competition in the United Kingdom in 1974, that was put on hold for her composition career upon her arrival at the London Contemporary Dance Theatre in 1978. She became one of the few pianists with a deep understanding of modern dance and improvisation, and that's something that she has incorporated into her compositions. She was just not just, this is literally the year, Delaney, you read it. Okay, 2001, just. 2001, she was awarded a Nesta Fellowship for composition. She also saw the premiere of her violin concerto that was written for Thomas Bowes and commissioned by the Scottish Chamber Orchestra. She's had, of course, several commissions. Right.
Because who else they asking? Why about it?
Because, two of her string quartets were, actually 3 of her string quartets were recently performed by the ensemble Arcadiana. Okay, bust down, Arcadiana.
Don't play this for her.
Right. They played that on their recent album. So yeah, take a listen to her music. We'll be linking her site and her Spotify link so you can listen to some of her music. The person that suggested her for Black Excellence said that it's pretty modern, so they didn't know how we was gonna feel about it. But I mean, we can have love for it. Shout out to Jasmine. So
Jasmine suggested it?
No, not Jasmine, but
okay.
Jasmine wasn't the one that suggested
Jasmine,
it.
that's some Jasmine stuff.
Nah, it was Mara.
Oh.
But yeah, check her out. I'm gonna link her site, and that's it for Black Excellence.
Piece of the week goes out to the Lion King soundtrack. Now, before you roll your eyes, it was performed by the Recollective Orchestra, which features many, many friends of ours and friends of the show. Also, a lot of cast Black XLI. Like Kaylin Edwards, Jessica McJunkins. Was Sterling Black Excellence?
Yeah.
Sterling was in that orchestra. Andrew Francois was in that orchestra.
Titus Underwood.
I just don't understand. Like, I heard that like the sound was like something that Tahira was in the orchestra. Mm-hmm. So take a listen. I certainly haven't listened. I'm still stuck on Hamilton. I told Caitlin I'm gonna listen. I'm still listening to Hamilton. But yeah, I want to take a listen. I've linked it. It's on Spotify. So go get your entire life. The majority of the orchestra is Black, as it should be, because it literally took place in Kenya. So there's no other movie where the orchestra should be predominantly Black. So yeah, I'm so happy for my friends. I'm excited for the big things that they will be accomplishing from this, right. And embarrassing all the girls that have ever come before them and will ever come. Period. So thank you so much for listening to Classically Black Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Classically Black Podcast. If you have a piece of the week suggestion, Black excellence suggestion, please email them to classicallyblackpodcast@gmail.com, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.